Do you know that there are several celebrated NFL players that are currently rotting in jail? It's shocking, right? Stay clicked to this video as we find out about these players and their crimes. In this video, you are going to see the former NFL player who sexually assaulted elderly women, another player who took it upon himself to kill people he tagged as unbelievers, and many others. Have you heard about Eric Naposki, who connived with his girlfriend to kill her fiancé for his money? We are also going to give you the full details of how Anthony Smith gruesomely murdered some individuals. Just sit back and don't click off as we take you on this journey. Kellen Winslow II. Kellen Winslow II, a former tight end in the NFL, was found guilty of forced rape, rape of an unconscious person, assault with the purpose of committing rape, indecent exposure, and obscene behavior in public. He was sentenced to 14 years in prison. Judge Blaine Bowman of the San Diego County Superior Court referred to Winslow as a sexual predator. Winslow, who accepted a plea agreement, was sentenced to a maximum of 14 years in jail. In addition to being found guilty of raping an unconscious kid in 2003 and sexually assaulting a 54-year-old hitchhiker in 2018, Winslow was also found guilty of raping a 58-year-old unhoused woman in Encinitas, California. If he had rejected the plea agreement, he could have been sentenced to up to 18 years in prison. In 3 seasons, Winslow recorded 119 receptions for 1,365 yards and 9 touchdowns while playing college football for the University of Miami, where he also won a national championship in 2001. Robert Rozier. This former NFL player committed a very bizarre crime. Rozier killed 4 individuals after his football career. He acknowledged killing more than 4 people. And his narrative wasn't even over there. In addition to playing with the St. Louis Cardinals, Rozier also participated in high school, college, and Canadian Football League competitions. He eventually made his way to the Nation of Yahweh, a sect led by a lunatic going by the name Yahweh Ben Yahweh. Ben chose the moniker God for himself because he believed himself to be the second incarnation of God, following Jesus. He also gave his supporters the task of killing non-believers. Rozier was therefore sentenced to 10 years in jail for multiple murders before being given another 12 years, and perhaps a life sentence, in prison for rubber checks. He might have been aware that California had a 3 strikes law if he had chosen to play baseball rather than football, not just murder and sexual assaults. There are many other crimes that are yet to unfold. Just keep watching. Sam Hurd. Former NFL wide receiver Sam Hurd was sentenced to 15 years in prison for his involvement in a narcotics trafficking organization. According to the accusations, Hurd attempted to establish a distribution network for cocaine and marijuana between July 2011 and June 6, 2012. In April 2013, Hurd entered a plea of guilty to all charges. According to the federal government's sentencing guidelines, Hurd might have even earned a life sentence. It's so disappointing how Hurd changed over the course of 2 years from an NFL wideout in his prime to an alleged drug lord. Hurd has 6 years of NFL experience. The last of those seasons was spent with the Chicago Bears, after 5 of those were spent with the Dallas Cowboys. According to Pro Football Reference, Hurd has had 53 receptions, 739 yards, and 2 touchdowns over the course of his 6-year career. Despite having some potential as a pass catcher during his stint in the league, he was never able to fully realize his potential or establish himself as a strong playmaker. Hurd will now probably serve as a warning for current players in the league and a story presented to new players at the Rookie Symposium. Eric Naposki. This case involving Eric Naposki involves a dirty love triangle. Eric Naposki, a former linebacker for the New England Patriots and Indianapolis Colts, was charged with conspiring with William McLaughlin's fiancée, Nanette Ann Packard, to murder the businessman in December 1994. Naposki faced a sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole when he was sentenced in October. Packard took part in the crime, as she admitted to stealing about $500,000 from McLaughlin's bank accounts in 1996, including cashing a $250,000 check the day before he was shot. She also admitted to forging checks, and she received a 1-year prison term. David Meggett. Former NFL player David Meggett was found guilty of criminal sexual behavior and burglary and was sentenced to 30 years in jail. Meggett was found guilty in a case involving a meeting with a college student at her North Charleston home in January 2009. Meggitt chose not to testify in his own defense during the trial, and his attorney has stated that he will appeal. Meggitt and the woman engaged in consensual sexual activity before getting into a fight. Not only that, Meggitt was also detained in 1998 in Toronto, Canada, on suspicion of assaulting an escort worker following a three-way sex act, according to the authorities. In April 2000, a jury was deadlocked at a trial on the assault charge. Meggitt went on to serve as the Director of Parks and Recreation in Robersonville, North Carolina, but he quit 4 years ago after being accused of assaulting his ex-girlfriend sexually. Finally, he was found guilty of sexual battery. Looking back at his NFL career, Meggitt played running back and punt returner in the National Football League from 1989 to 1998. He graduated from North Charleston High School. Meggitt played for the New York Giants for 6 seasons, the New England Patriots for 3, and the New York Jets for 1. During his career, he gained little under 3,000 receiving yards and slightly over 1,700 rushing yards. Darrell Henley has been playing defense with the LA Rams for 4 years, participating in 76 games and collecting 12 interceptions during a 5-year span until it all comes tumbling down in 1995. Henley and 3 other people were found guilty of trafficking cocaine. Even though he initially disputes the accusations, Henley finally acknowledges that he helped fund a friend's illicit enterprise. He allegedly hired a prison guard to smuggle a mobile phone into the prison while he was awaiting sentencing so he could talk to his family, including his fiancée at the time and infant daughter. As a result of Henley's decision to target the judge overseeing his sentencing as well as a crucial witness, the situation got much worse. However, neither hit went through, as Henley was, in fact, talking to undercover agents who recorded these conversations. In 1996, Henley pleaded guilty to soliciting the 2 murders and was sentenced by 2 separate judges to a combined 41 years for the drug charges and solicitation of murder. Trevone Boykin. Boykin was initially detained on December 31st following an altercation that happened at a bar in San Antonio before the Alamo Bowl. He got into a brawl with customers who were insulting the TCU quarterback at the time. Before being let outside, he was accused of hitting a bar employee. Following that, the incident continued, at which point the police were called. The officer who was attempting to separate the 2 groups was allegedly assaulted by Boykin after that. Boykin was very aggressive and was being held back by the group that he was with. His group's members promised to return him to the hotel where they were staying. Police initially charged Boykin with assaulting a public servant, public intoxication, and resisting arrest. The assault charge, a 3rd-degree felony, carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. Boykin's collegiate career was basically terminated when TCU suspended him from the Alamo Bowl. After being passed over in the 2016 NFL Draft, he later signed a free agent contract with the Seahawks. Keith Wright. In the case of Keith Wright, he was a potential talent coming out of Missouri College who was bound for the NFL. When Wright was selected by the Houston Texans in the 3rd round of the 2003 NFL Draft, he realized his lifelong goal of playing professional football. Wright, however, didn't quite succeed in the NFL. He only played in the league for 4 seasons, and after retiring, he took a bad turn. Wright later carried out a string of robberies and attacks, for which he was sentenced to 234 years in prison. He won't be leaving anytime soon. It can be said with certainty. Anthony Smith. Smith, who was selected by the Los Angeles Raiders in the 1990 NFL Draft, was found responsible for the stabbing death of Dennis Henderson in June 2001 and the shooting deaths of Kevin and Ricky Nettles in November 1999. Smith's legal representative, Michael Evans, reportedly stated that he intended to submit a motion for a new trial. While the Nettles were taken from a car wash before their bodies were recovered 8 miles apart, Smith was part of a group that kidnapped Henderson before killing him, according to the police. Before retiring after the 1997 season, the 48-year-old former first-round choice, 11th overall, played 7 seasons with the Raiders in Los Angeles and Oakland, compiling 57.5 sacks in 98 games. Art Schlichter, a former quarterback at Ohio State, was accused of felony. Schlichter lived in his hometown of Washington Courthouse. Gambling addiction was what caused Schlichter to lose his NFL career in the 1980s, and it was later discovered that he had stolen thousands of dollars from people for fake college and NFL football tickets. In September 2011, Schlichter admitted responsibility for the ticketing scheme. He is currently on parole, having served his sentence in 2021. The use of drugs would be a parole infraction. Anita Barney, a resident of Dublin, and the widow of former Wendy's CEO Robert Barney, was one of Schlichter's victims. She admitted guilt to 2 counts of felony theft for her personal participation in Schlichter's activities. What do you think led these criminals to carry out such acts? What's your opinion about this video? Let's know what you think. Please like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Click on the next video on your screen as we take you on another exciting journey.